Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to 30 Days of Truth. This is day number 8, and we are endeavoring to lift up and declare eternal truths about God in the midst of this pandemic. And we are believing, like Elihu in the book of Job, that as we do this, as we obey God in this, that He is going to manifest in our lives just as He manifested in Job's life in the midst of his crisis. Amen? So today we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about the fact that God is faithful. And I've got my oldest son here today, Promise. He's going to be reading the scriptures for us. So Promise, can you read that first one there, bud?
Galatians 5:22 through 23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such things there is no law.
All right. So, he just read that the fruit of the Spirit, a part of that is faithfulness. So the first thing we need to establish is that faithfulness is a part of the very character of God. All right? This is hugely important because it is core to His being. Right? He is not able to not be faithful. All right, if I said that correctly. But that faithfulness is a part of His character. It's a part of who He is. All right? All right, you going to read the second one, bud?
Psalms 36:5. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens. Your faithfulness to the clouds.
Okay. And the next one.
Hebrews 13:5. Keep your life free from love of money and be content with what you have. For He has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you.
All right. So God's faithfulness reaches to the skies, to the heavens. You know, he's not putting a finite measurement on it. He's painting a picture that, hey, look, if you could measure from here to the end of the galaxy, that's how tall, how large my faithfulness is. But the truth is we can't measure that, and that's God's point, is that His faithfulness is immeasurable. And so immeasurable that He tells us, listen, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'll never do it, right? We may forsake Him. We may be unfaithful to Him, right? That's possible. But He says, listen, if you're my children, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And I think those are very comforting words, especially in the time we're in right now. All right, can you read that fourth one?
Proverbs 18:24. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother.
Amen. And that friend is Jesus Christ, right? He sticks closer than any of our earthly family, any of our earthly brothers, and even many of our brothers and sisters in church, right? It's Jesus who's the one that has always been there, and He always will be. All right. Want to jump down to the second part there, bud?
Mm-hmm. Read the first verse?
Yep.
Matthew 25:21. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. For you have been faithful over a little, I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master.
All right. So here we're reading from, this is the parable of the talents, right? Where Jesus is explaining the parable, and God, or Jesus, I should say here, He says this, you have been faithful over little, I'll set you over much. So God's looking at these people's lives, and the very thing He's looking for is faithfulness, right? That's what He's looking for in our lives. And He's wanting to know, hey, the things I've given to you, right? Even in the midst of this pandemic, right? There's things that God has given to us. God has given me internet and these electronic devices and this marker board. And, you know, this is kind of where this thought came from was, hey, what can I do right now? We can't meet as a church necessarily, but I can do this. And I pray that God would find me faithful in the things He's given me, to share the truth about Him. All right, read the next one.
Luke 16:10-12. One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in a very little is also dishonest in much. If then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, who will entrust to you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in which is another's, who will give to that which is your own? Give you that which is your own.
All right, thanks, bud. So God is testing us, right? There's things that God has given us in this, on earth. He's given us time. He's given us possessions. He's given us relationships. He's given us finances. And he wants to see, what are you going to do with it? Right? That's what he's asking us. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to squander it? Are we going to bury it? Are we going to ignore it? Or are we going to take it and use it to the best of our ability? And God is saying, listen, I'm watching you. I want to see what you're going to do with the things I've given you. All right?
Revelations 2:10. Do not fear what you are about to suffer. Behold, the devil is about to throw some of you into prison, that you may be tested. For 10 days you will have tribulation. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life.
Okay. So here, Jesus tells us, look, I'm watching you, and I want to see not only are you faithful in the things I've given you, but are you faithful to me? And not only are you faithful to me, but are you going to be faithful to me all the way to the end of your life? Even if that means giving your life up for Jesus physically, where we are killed for the gospel, right? It would be a shame to follow God and all of a sudden at one point where our life is put to the test and we say, you know what? I back out. I don't want to follow Jesus. This is too hard for me, right? Because God makes it very clear that those who get the crown of life are those who are faithful unto the end. Amen. So I want to encourage us in the fact that God is faithful, right? And that he invites us and encourages us to be just like him, to be faithful. So be blessed. Thanks for joining us today. And I pray that if you're struggling with any fear or uncertainty, know that God is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, that he will never leave us nor forsake us, and that we can cling to that truth. Amen. Join us back tomorrow for day number 9 of 30 Days of Truth.